welcome everyone. So today we are going to have a look at a grammar lesson, and this is your first grammar lesson for the intermediate level, okay? So we'll start with the present simple. Now if you have followed the beginner level, this one is going to be a bit more advanced. දැන් මේ lesson එකේදී අපි intermediate level එකේ තමයි grammar බලන්නේ. දැන් ඕගොල්ලෝ beginner level එකේ grammar කරලා නම් එන්නේ ඕගොල්ලන්ට මේ tenses ටිකම තමයි කරේ. හැබැයි මෙච්චර advanced කරේ නැහැ. ඊට චුට්ටක් ලේසිව කරා. right? මේකේ ඊට වඩා චුට්ටක් advanced වෙනස් විදියකට කරන්න යන්නේ. ඒකෙදී I expect the learner to do a bit of more work. right? ඕගොල්ලොන්ට තේරුම් අරගෙන ඕගොල්ලෝ ඊට වඩා involve වෙන්න ඕනේ මේ lesson එකේදී. අරකෙදි මමම කතා කරලා මමම ගොඩාක් කරා. So obviously මේකෙත් මම තමයි කතා කරන්නේ because you're not there. But මේකෙදි ඕගොල්ලෝ try කරන්න lesson එකත් එක්ක involve වෙන්න ගෙදර හිටියත්. right? Okay, so let's have a look at today's aim. Now in today's lesson, you will learn and practice the use, the form and the pronunciation of present simple tense sentences. දැන් මේ lesson එකේදී අපි present tense කියන lesson එක present tense කියන එක use කරන්නේ ඇයි? ඒකේ form එක කොයි වගේද? සහ pronunciation කොයි විදිහටද අපි ඒ වාක්‍යයක් නැත්නම් question tag එකක් උච්චාරණය කරන්නේ කොයි විදිහටද කියන එක තමයි මේ lesson එකේදී කියන්නේ. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ මතක තියාගන්න ඕන එකක් තියෙනවා. beginner level එකේ මම ගොඩාක් සිංහලෙන් කරා. intermediate එකේ English and Sinhala mix, but I'm not going to translate everything. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් මම beginner level එකේ හැම එකක්ම translate කර ගියා. දැන් මේකට එනකොට English and Sinhala දෙකම මම use කරනවා. හැබැයි වචනෙන් වචනේ translate කරන්නේ නැහැ. right? advanced එකට ගියාම තනිකර ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් යන්නේ. right? so සමහරක් අය හිතෙන්න පුළුවන් ඇයි ඒක ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන්ම කරන්නේ අපිට කිසිම දෙයක් තේරුම් ගන්න බෑනේ. කොහොමද අපි ඉගෙන ගන්නෙ? right? but the actual thing is you have to do the exam in English. දැන් මම කොච්චරින් සිංහලෙන් කියලා දුන්නත් right ඒක මම කියලා දෙන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට help කරන්න. හැබැයි ඇත්තටම විභාගය අපිට සිංහලෙන් කරන්න බෑනේ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට මම advanced එකටත් ගිහිල්ලා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට සිංහලෙන්ම හැමදේම කිව්වොත් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට exam එකට ගිහිල්ලා ඇත්තටම මුකුත් කරගන්න බැරි වුණොත් එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ අයියෝ ටීචර් එකකට කොච්චර ගියත් අපිට කරගන්න බැරි වුණා. ඒ ඇයි ඒ හැමදේම මම spoon feed කරොත් සිංහලෙන්. So I'm going to have a mixed, okay, when I'm teaching this level, ඒ කියන්නේ මම දෙකම use කරනවා. හැබැයි වචනෙන් වචනේ translation එක චුට්ටක් මම අතාරිනවා. Okay? So beginner, everything was translated. Intermediate, it's going to be a mixed. Advanced, complete, it's going to be in English. There's no Sinhala involved in it. Okay? Maybe one or two words when I really want to teach you something, but it doesn't have Sinhalese. I would say more or less it's completely English. Okay? Right. So in today's lesson, we will practice the use, the form and the pronunciation. ඉතින් අපි බලමු කොහොමද මේ lesson එක කරන්නේ කියලා. Now, what is the time frame for the below sentence? දැන් මොකද්ද sentence එකේ කියන්නේ? I wake up at 6 a.m. every day. The train leaves at 2 p.m. from this station. දැන් දෙකක් තියෙනවා sentences අපි බලමු. 6ට මම නැගිටිනවා හැමදාම. train එක පිටත් වෙනවා 2ට station එකෙන්. Let's have a look at the questions. Did the action start in the past? Will the action continue towards the future? Are they about what he is doing now or generally every day? Okay? අපි පළවෙනි sentence එක විතරක් අරගෙන බලමු. මෙන්න මේ sentence එක ගන්න. ඒකේ හිතන්න. මේක අපි පස්සේ බලමු. ඒකේ තේ ටික අහන්න පුළුවන් අපිට. අපි හැබැයි පළවෙනි question එක ගමු. I wake up at 6 am every day. ඒක past එකේ දෙයක්ද? past එකේද පටන් ගත්තේ? අනාගතයට continue වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මේක මේ දැන් generally නැත්නම් හැමදාම කරන දෙයක්ද? Let's have a look at the answers. Now, when I say I wake up at 6 am every day, ඒ කියන්නේ හැමදාම timeline එකේ කොහේ හිටියත් මම හැමදාම 6ට නැගිටලා තියෙනවා. 6ට නැගිටිනවා 6ට තමයි මම අනාගතයෙන් නැගිටින්නේ. ඒක තමයි ඒකේ තේරුම. I wake up at 6 am every day. හැමදාම මම නැගිටින්නේ 6ට තමයි. ඉස්සරහට 6ට දැනුත් 6ට මින් ඉදිරියට 6ට තමයි. හැමදාමනේ. right? ඉතින් හැමතැනම තියෙන ක්ලාස් එක හැමදාම තමයි ඒක මම කරන්නේ. So, did the action start in the past? Yes, it did. Will the action continue towards the future? Yes, it will. මොකද මම හැමදාමනේ කරන්නේ. Are they about what he's doing now or generally every day? So, සාමාන්‍යයෙන් හැමදාම එදිනෙදා කරන දෙයක් ගැන තමයි කියන්නේ. right? සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මම හැමදාම නැගිටින්නේ උදේ 6ට. The train leaves at 2 p.m. from this station. කෝච්චිය පිටත් වෙන්නේ 2ට. ඉස්සරහට යන්නේ කෝච්චිය වෙලාවටම 2ට. ඔව්. මින් ඉදිරියටත් යන්නේ කෝච්චිය 2ටද? ඔව්. මොකද ඒක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් හැමදාම යන්නේ 2ට තමයි. හරි? ඒක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් වෙන දෙයක් හින්දා it's a generally usually happening action. Okay, so usually that action happens. Right? දැන් මේකේ තේරුම් ගන්න ඕන දේ තමයි did it start in the past? Yes. Will the action continue towards the future? Yes. What does it talk about? General actions. නැත්නම් අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කරන දේවල්. අතීතේද පටන් ගත්තේ? ඔව්. අනාගතයට යනවද? ඔව්. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් දැන් වෙන දෙයක්. Clear? So, when you take, we call this a timeline, right? When you take the timeline, you can see that the X is placed in the past, present, and the future, right? Right. So let's have a look at the use of the present tense. හරි? අපි බලමු present tense එක පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ කොයි වෙලාවටද කියලා. දැන් basic grammar කෙනකොට මම ඊට වඩා ගොඩාක් explain කරා use එක. So now we're looking at it more in an advanced manner, like a quick way of looking at it. So, when we have a look at the first use, here we use it to express about habits, about a general truth, repeated actions or unchanging actions or situations, emotions and wishes, right? So, I'm just going to make this a comma, right? It should be a comma. So here, you need to make sure that it fits into any of these uses. So either you give instructions or directions, or you expressed fixed arrangements, present or future. අපි මතක තියාගන්න ඕන ටිකක් තියෙනවා. use එක තමයි present tense එකේ එක්කෝ අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කරන පුරුද්දක් නැත්නම් ඇත්තක්. ඒ කියන්නේ හැමදාම ඉර පායනවා. ඒක සාමාන්‍ය ඇත්තක් නේ. ඉතින් ඒක නැත්නම් හැමදාම වෙන action එකක්. නැත්නම් වෙනස් නොවන action එකක්. නැත්නම් මොකක් හරි situation එකක්, මොකක් හරි emotion එකක්, මොකක් හරි wish එකක් තියෙනවා නම් අපිට present tense එක use කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ කෙනෙක්ට මොකක් හරි instructions එනවා නම්, ඒ කියන්නේ අපි කියන්නේ fruit salad එකක් හදන්න කොහොමද අපි කරන්නේ? Buy fruits, wash the fruits, peel the fruits, cut the fruits into small cubes, right? හැම එකක්ම peel, cut, wash, mix ඔක්කොම ඇවිල්ලා present tense එක. නැත්නම් directions දෙනකොට go straight ahead, turn left, then cross over the road. එහෙම. දැන් අපි කියන්නේ going straight ahead, turning that side. එහෙම අපි කියන්නේ. Right? Next one, fixed arrangements. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට හැමදාම දෙයක් තියෙනවා. කෝච්චිය හැමදාම යන්නේ 2ට නම් හැමදාම යන්නේ 2ට. Fixed. බස් එක හැමදාම පිටත් වෙන්නේ 5ට නම් fixed. දැන් සමහරක් අය කියන්න පුළුවන් මිස් අයියෝ කෝච්චිය 2ට තිබ්බට 2ට එන්නේ නැහැ නේ කියලා. මේ අපි කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය වෙදින විදිය, right? සමහරක් වෙලාවට පරක්කු වෙන්න පුළුවන් ලංකාවේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට පරක්කු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි අපි use කරන්නේ fixed expression එක. මොකද පිටරට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කෝච්චියක් වෙලාවට එනවා එකත් එක වෙලාවට එනවා. බස් එකක් වෙලාවට එනවා නම් අපිට බෝඩ් එකේ දානවා ඊළඟට විනාඩි 4න් බස් එක තියෙන, ඊළඟ විනාඩි 10න් ඊළඟ බස් එක, ඊළඟ විනාඩි 14න් ඊළඟ බස් එක. එතකොට අපි දකිනවා ටයිම් එක. ඒ ටයිම් එකට බස් එක ගානට එනවා. ඇවිල්ලා පැසෙන්ජර්ස් දාගෙන ඊළඟ ස්ටොප් එකකින් නවත්තනවා. right? So fixed arrangements ඒක present හෝ future එකට වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. හරි? Now the train leaves in 5 minutes කිව්වොත් පිටත් වෙන්න යන්නේ විනාඩි 5කින්. හැබැයි ඒක futuristic action එකක් වුණාට කෝච්චිය හැමදාම යන්නේ 2ට හින්දානේ. දැන් මං අහනකොට තව විනාඩි 5කින් පිටත් වෙනවා කියන්නේ. ඒ හින්දා ඒක futuristic action එකක් වුණාට අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් use කරන්නේ simple present tense එක. Right? So, moving on. So, looking at it in detail. Now, let's check your understanding. So, if you talk about daily routines, right? I do this on Mondays. That means basically you do it on a daily routine. Okay? 6 a.m., evenings, early mornings, during breaks. It means that you could do it on a daily basis, right? And could be any time during that specific day. All right? Okay. So moving on, let's have a look at the positive, the negative, and the question tag form, right? So positive one, I wake up early in the morning during the weekdays. I do not wake up early during the weekdays. Do you travel by bus to work? Now let's have a look at the sentence form, right? So you have the subject, I, you have the base form of the work week, and then you have the object. So remember, if it is present tense, right, you could have the base form or you can have the S form, okay? So example, you can say she. If it is not I, you can say she wakes early morning, or you can say she wakes up early morning. During the weekdays. So here you could have the base form or you could have the S form, right? So S form means if it is singular, then it is the S form, okay? If it is plural or I or you, then it is the base form. Now when it is negative, right, you could have the subject. If it is plural or I or you, you can see here, we, they, I or you, then you put do not, okay? I do wake up or I do not, because it's negative, do not, okay? Does not, plus the verb, plus the object, okay? But if it is singular, right, now let me write an example. She, negative form, so does not. She does not. Now you have to write the verb, wake up. Then you have to write the object, wake up, early morning during the weekends. You can continue it, right? So here, remember, right, you put do not or does not plus the verb. The verb will always be infinitive in the present tense, right, or the base form. Next, you have the question tag. Do you travel by bus to work? Now remember here, okay, if it is plural, you put do. If it is singular, you put does. Plus the subject. Okay, so this is the auxiliary verb, right? So you have do or does, or you can say the question tag form do or does, plus the subject, plus the verb, plus the object. Okay, so does she, you don't need does again there. Okay, does she travel by bus to work? Do you travel by bus to work? Okay, so remember here you put the question tag does, then you put the subject she, then you put the verb, the base form of the verb, does she travel, then the object by bus to work. Right? So what you need to remember here is, see, it might be a bit confusing for you. So let me just go through it one more time. Then affirmative එකක් නම් positive එකක් නම් subject plus the base form plus the object. ඒක ඇවිල්ලා plural නම් නැත්නම් I නැත්නම් you තියෙනවා නම්. Singular තියෙනවා නම් she, he, it. S form of the verb. ඒ කියන්නේ verb එක plus S එක. S කිව්වහම ES, IES නිකන් S add කරන එක any form වෙන S form. Plus the object. ඒකේ negative එක දානවා නම් do not, does not. එතකොට they do not. She does not. Plural නම් do not එන්නේ. I youth ඒකට එකඟයි. මොකද I you singular වගේ කියලා අපි දැනුණට it acts like a plural. ඊළඟ එකේ he, she, it කිව්වොත් does not. So I do not wake up. එතකොට I කියන්නේ subject එක, do not කියන එක දානවා plus the base form of the verb. Wakes කියන්නේ හරිද? wake ම තමයි එන්නේ. She does not wakes up කියන්නේ ද singular එකට s දාන හින්දා මෙතන දානවා කියලා එකක් නැහැ. Negative form එක આવවම does කියන එක already ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. So she does not wake up in the morning. එතකොට එන්නේ subject එක does not plus the base form of the verb. එතකොට negative එක වෙනකොට s form එකක් එන්නේ. Singular උනත් plural උනත් අපිට එන්නේ base form of the verb. ඊළඟට අපිට තියෙන්නේ question tag එක. ඒකෙදී plural නම් I හරි you හරි නම් පටන් ගන්න sentence එක do. Do plus the subject plus the base form of the verb plus the object, remaining bit of the sentence. Singular නම් does plus the subject plus the base form of the verb plus the object. Okay? All right. Moving on. Let's have a look at the present tense. When you use the present tense with the third person, right? So example, he, she, it. You add the following endings to the verbs with the following letters. Okay. Example, අපි කිව්වහම they go. හැබැයි third person එකේ singular නම් she goes. ES. O එකකින් ඉවර වෙනවා නම් you add the EX. Right? So you have to decide which one. So example, antim එක බලමු. We cry. Finishing from Y. So you can say he cries. Itu උඩ එක, right? They watch. Oops, they watch. He watches. So, same way you can see when there's O, you end it with ES in singular form. When there's Y, you cut the Y and you add IES. When there's CH, you add the ES at the end. So these are the spelling rules. Now I've gone through the spelling rules with you in detail when we were doing the beginner levels. If you're not so sure, you can go back and have a look at it. Okay? Right, okay. So example for the other one also, let me quickly write one for you. They rush or we rush to work. She rushes to work. Right? So you can have a look at it how it changes. So this is in the plural form. When you write third person singular, you will add the S form. Now pronunciation. Let's have a look at this. I travel to work by bus. Sentence එකම වැදගත්. You don't say I travel to work by bus. I travel to work by bus. You know, you stress on the sentence. I don't travel to work by bus. You stress on the important parts, right? I travel to work by bus. I don't travel to work by bus. But if it is a question tag, do you say, do you travel to work by bus? Or do you say, do you travel to work by bus? Okay. Do you travel to work by bus? අන්න ඒක තමයි තමන් පුරුදු වෙන්න ඕනේ. නිකම්ම do you travel to work by bus? I go to school by bus. I like to go to school. It's very nice. My school has 5 buildings. There are 10 teachers. එහෙම කියන්නේ. You have to have intonation, variation. අපි speak කරනකොට stress තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ හින්දා තමයි අපි කියන්නේ I travel to work by bus. I don't travel to work by bus. Do you travel to work by bus? Okay, intonation. So it's very important that you understand where to stress. I travel to work by bus. I don't travel to work by bus. Do you travel to work by bus? Question tag. Right. Now, let's have a look at this sentence. We are supposed to make it negative and then put the question form as well. So first, let's look at a positive sentence. Darren works for a telecommunication company. What does it mean? Has he done it in the past? When you say Darren works for a company, has he done it in the past? Yes. Is Darren currently working in a company? Yes. Will he do it for the future? Hopefully, yes. Okay. So here you would realize at present, Darren works for a company. It is fairly a long-term thing. Okay. Which means we get the understanding that it has happened in the past and it's most likely also to happen in the future, right? Next one. Harry doesn't earn a small salary. Now, when you say doesn't, it means the negative form does not. Oops. Does not. Right? So, when you talk about it, in the past, Harry does not earn a small salary. So at present, what is happening? He's earning a big salary. So it has been happening for some time. So in the past, has it happened? Yes, he's got a big salary. At the moment, is he getting a big salary? Yes. And it is most likely to continue into the future. Right? Question form, does Kevin live in London? Okay, does Kevin live in London? So someone is asking you a question. Yes, he lives in London. So yes, he's done that in the past. Yes, he lives in London at the moment. It's most likely he'll continue to live in London. Okay, so does Kevin live in London? So when you have a look at this, you can see the S form. Okay, and then when you go here, you see the subject does not plus the base form of the verb. And when you go to the question tag, you can see do or does plus the subject plus the base form of the verb plus the object, remaining bit of the sentence. Right, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to complete the gaps. So let's have a look at the first one. Tanya speak or speaks. Tanya is singular, so we add the base form. So Tanya speaks German very well. Ben and Jack go or goes. There are two people. So Ben and Jack go to the same school. Not go, go. Go to the same school. Bad driving causes or cause many accidents. Bad driving causes. The museum closes. It's one, so closes. My parents live. Parents means plural, so base form of the verb. The Olympic Games take place or takes place. So Olympic Games take place. Plural, so take place. Complete the following blanks. Not drink coffee very often. Okay, so Harry. Now when you want to tell the negative, අපිට දැන් negative එක කියන්න ඕන නම් කොහොමද අපි මේක කරන්නේ? Harry does not. Do not කියන්න පුළුවන්ද අපිට? Can we say do not? We can't say that. We have to say Harry does not drink coffee very often. නිතරම වගේ කෝපි බොන්නේ නැහැ. What time the shops close here? What time do or does? What time do the shops close here? Or what time does the shops close here? What do you think? What time do the shops close here? Okay. We have a van, but we not use it much. We have a van, but we don't use it much. Where Jane come from? Is she French? Now, I want to tell you one thing. Here, we started with the do does, right? If you have a question tag at the front, now example, where or what, then you have to have that plus the do or does. Where does, what does, or you can say where do they work. Where does she go every day? What does it like? Right? So here you have the WH question tag, then the do or does, the subject plus the base form of the verb. If that is what you get, right? Now that is something that you have got here. Where, then you have the do or does. Where does Jane come from? Is she French? Okay. What blank you do? I'm a teacher. Sorry. I'm a teacher. Okay. So what you do? I'm a teacher. What do you do? What do you do? I'm a teacher. Look at this word. What this word mean? Alright. So let's look at the sixth one. Hi Vinika Baluhama. Look at this word. What blank this word mean? Etakota, look at this word. What does this word mean? Right? Kevin isn't very fit. He not do any workouts. Kevin isn't very fit. He does not do any workouts. Okay. All right. So moving on. Complete the following blanks. Practice the positive and negative verbs. දැන් අපි මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ? මේ gaps ටික fill කරන්න ඕනේ ගැලපෙන විදියට positive නැත්නම් negative බලලා. Where are you? I have no idea. You just in front of our house. Are you hungry? අපි බලමු. එක එක ඒවා වෙනස්. A B විදියට යමු, right? Where are you? Now I have no idea. You are just in front of our house. Are you hungry? Have something to eat. Yes, I am. Oh, we don't have to do something. I am a bit hungry. Oh, mata tikak badigini. Is your sister at school? ඔයාගේ සහෝදරිය ඉස්කෝලේද? I must talk to her. No, she isn't at school. නෑ, යා ඉස්කෝලේ නෙවෙයි ඉන්නේ. She is not at school කියන එක තමයි. No, she isn't at school. යා ඉස්කෝලේ නෙවෙයි ඉන්නේ. Where are your parents? Are they at home? My mum and dad are at work. දෙන්නෙක්නේ එතකොට are. At work. Is Peter your friend? And what about Bill? Peter and Bill are both my best friends. Okay, or you can say Peter and Bill are my best friends. Or Peter and Bill are both my best friends. Okay? Right. Complete the following blanks and practice the question form. Then balamu. My brother Mark goes to primary school in Brighton. Early he get up. So does he get up early? Very early. His friends Jim and Kevin travel with him. So when you say do, we have to say do they. Plural form. Do they travel by bus? Okay. Next one. Usually, Jim's father sometimes takes them by car. He is a teacher. At the same school. එතකොට අපි මොකක්ද අහන්නේ? එයාත් උගන්වන්නේ ඒ ස්කෝලෙමද? එතකොට does he teach at the same school? Yes, he does. He teaches English and history. ඔයා හේ තමයි උගන්වන්නේ ඉංග්‍රීසි සහ ඉතිහාසය උගන්වන්නේ. Your brother like English. එතකොට ඔයාගේ සහෝදරයයි singular. So does do hari does හරිනේ question tag එකේ. Does your brother like? මතකද question tag එක එනවා නම් base form of the verb තමයි එන්නේ subject එකට පස්සේ. Yes, he does. English is his favorite subject. He loves it. Him with his homework. So you කිව්වහම ඔබ, but it acts like a plural. So do you help him with his homework? Never. My brother is the best student in his class. කවදාකවත් මම උදව් කරන්නේ නැහැ. එයා තමයි ක්ලාස් එකේ ඉන්න හොඳම ශිෂ්‍යයා. Right? All right. Find the mistakes and correct them. Give answers to the questions. දැන් මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ? අපිට මේකේ තියෙනවා වැරදි ටිකක්. ඒ ටික හොයලා හරි ගස්සලා මේ question එකට උත්තරේ දෙන්න ඕනේ. So, does your parents live in a house? Parents කිව්වහම plural. So this is wrong. Okay? So we have to rewrite it and say, do your parents live in a house? So then මේ question එකට උත්තරේ දෙන්නත් ඕනේ. You have to answer this. Right? So now I'm going to write my answer. You can write your answer. Right? දැන් මම ලියන්න යන්නේ මගේ උත්තරේ ඕගොල්ලන්ට ගැලපෙන එක ඕගොල්ලන්ට ලියන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So this is the answer. Do your parents live in a house? Yes. They live in a 2-storied house. මොකද මං කියන්නේ? ඔව් ඒගොල්ලෝ ජීවත් වෙන්නේ තට්ටු දෙකේ ගෙදරක. Yes, they live in a 2-storied house. Right? Do your brother and sister eats meat? So plural nang there cannot be a S form, right? So do your and sister eat meat? So the answer I'm going to give, no, they don't eat meat. Does Sam works on a computer? Does Sam work? Remember, does hari do hari enamanang the verb cannot have an S form. It should be in the base form, right? So does Sam work on a computer? So you will have to say yes or no. So I'm going to say yes. He uses a computer at work. Right, next one. You think she is your best friend. So that's a question tag. So we can't say you think. You think she's your best friend? No, we have to say, the tag එක? Do you think? Right. Do you think she is your best friend? ඔයගොල්ලෝ හිතනවාද එයා ඔයාගේ හොඳම යාළුවා කියලා? So I'm going to write an answer and say, yes, I think she is my best friend. Next one. Do she thinks you are her best friend? So you can't say do she thinks. There are two things wrong here. Does, oops. What happened to my blue color? Right. Does she think? So let's write down. Does she think you are her best friend? දැන් උරට තනියම ලියන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. මේකේ අහනවා does she think you are her best friend? එයා හිතනවාද ඔයා ඇවිල්ලා එයාගේ හොඳම යාළුවා කියලා? You can say yes or no. දැන් තනියම ලියන්න පුළුවන්, right? Do Jill's cat catches mice at night? Do නෙවෙයි does. Does Jill's cat Jillගේ පූසා රැට මීයෝ අල්ලනවද? Does Jill's cat catch mice at night? Why does Jill's cat catch mice at night? All right. So, let's have a look at the next activity. What is your daily routine like? Daily routine කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? එදිනෙදා අපේ තියෙන දිනචර්යාව. Underline the present simple verbs and try using them with the third person singular. Right, okay. So, අපි ඉස්සෙල්ලා කරන්න ඕනේ මේක තමයි මගේ daily routine එක. හරිද? ඒක අපි underline කරන්න ඕනේ present simple verb එක. ඊට පස්සේ third person singular form එකකින් අපි ලියන්න ඕනේ. කියන්නේ he, she, හරි it එකෙන්. I go to work at 8:45 am every morning. What is the verb? Go. එතකොට third person singular එකත් එක්ක he, she දාලා අපි කියමුකෝ she කියලා. She goes to work. I singular form maker. You know that when there is a singular subject, the verb must be S form, right? Not when you're writing the negative or not when you're writing the question tag. I usually drive to work. So drive is the verb. So let's write down she usually drives to work. So drives is the S form. I always check my emails when I get to work, but I don't always reply to them immediately. So let's have a look at it. She always checks singular, so you know it's the S. She always checks her emails when she gets to work, but she doesn't always reply to them immediately. So here you can see the verbs check, changes, right? Oh, when she gets changes, doesn't changes. Okay, so here she always checks her emails when she gets to work, but she doesn't always reply to them immediately. Okay, so quite clear as to what are the words or verbs that change, right? Okay, so having a look at the next one. I take. Okay, so that's a verb. I take a taxi or train if I have. So it has to change. A lunch meeting. I never take the bus because it is too slow. So let's write down. She takes a taxi or train if she has a lunch meeting she never takes the bus because it is too slow. Let's just write it here, too slow. Right. When I am at my desk, okay, so when she, you can't say am, okay, it has to change into is. When I am at my desk, I usually work on the computer even during morning tea. So let's write down when she is at my desk. No, so when I'm at my desk, so when she is at her desk, she usually works on the computer even during morning tea. Next one, at 1 p.m. most days I have lunch. So it has to be on at 1 p.m. most days she has lunch. At 3 p.m. we have afternoon tea. That is when we usually talk and eat cake. දැන් මම මේවයි සිංහල තේරුම කියන්නේ නැහැ. මේවා ගොඩක් සරල හින්දා උගලන්ට තේරෙන හින්දා. You're at an intermediate level then, right? So at 3 p.m. she have afternoon tea, and that is when she usually talk and eat cake. So when you take it she, මෙන්න මේ talk and eat වෙනස් වෙන එක තමයි මම she කියලා ඒ ටික දැම්මේ, right? So she talk නෙවෙයි she talks and eats. අන්න එහෙම එන්න ඕනේ, right? So let's write down at 3 p.m. She has afternoon tea and that is when she usually talks and eats cake. Next one. When you are in the office, right, you probably have a lot of papers. It is important for you to file your papers and so that you can find them. Again, you need to organize your files. All right. So moving on, let's have a look at the next one. At 3 p.m., we have afternoon tea. And that is when we usually talk and eat cake. So let's have a look at it, right? දැන් මෙතනදී මම හැම එකක්ම මම ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වා වගේ සිංහලෙන් explain කරන්න. හැබැයි mixed යන්නේ. සිංහල and English mixed එකක් යන්නේ. හැබැයි beginner level එක වගේ වචනෙන් වචනේ අපි translate කරන්නේ නැහැ. Okay? So at 3 p.m. we කියන එක අපි දාමු දැන් she. මම ඔක්කොම she වලින් ලිව්වේ. If you want he වලින් ලියන්නත් පුළුවන්, right? it ලියන්නත් පුළුවන් ගැලපෙන තැනදී. So at 3 p.m. she has afternoon tea and that is when she usually talks and eats cake. When you are in the office, you probably have a lot of papers. When you are in the office, you probably have a lot of papers. So, third person, when she is in the office, she probably has a lot of papers. All right. So moving on, the next one. When I work, I have to make telephone calls and organize a meeting, right? So, අපි එක singular එකට දානවා නම් when I work, I have to make telephone calls and organize a meeting, right? So, අපි එක third person එකකින් ලියමු. When she works, she has to make telephone calls and organize a meeting. Next one, once a month I report to my boss and I usually write a document that my boss can read. So, changing it, once a month she reports my boss and she usually writes a document that my boss can read. All right. Replace the red color words with your information. දැන් මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ? තමන්ගේ information එක මේ red color ඒවා replace කරන්න ඕනේ. හරි තමන්ට ගැලපෙන එක. Okay? I go to work at 8:45 every morning. Okay? Moving on. Replace the following sentences with your habits, routine and promises, right? Now this is the frequency line. All right, so let's have a look at the next bit. Replace the following sentences with your habits, routine and promises, right? Now these are the frequency adverbs, right? I always do it. I usually do it. I generally do it. I often do it. I sometimes, it's like a 50-50%, okay? I occasionally do it. I seldom do it. Rarely, never. So never is 0%, always is 100%. Okay, so in between, 50% is like sometimes, and depending on the others, you go on the ratio. I mean, it was just a ratio. I'm not saying it's always like that. This is roughly 100%. This is never 0%. So you can start writing sentences which are truthful for you, okay? Not these ones, okay? තමන් තමන්ට ගැලපෙන එක ඕනේ ලියන්න. දැන් අපි frequency එක ගත්තොත් මම හැමදාම කරනවා. Always 100%යි. කවදාකවත්ම කරන්නේ නැහැ. That is 0%. සමහරක් වෙලාවට කරනවා. Sometimes is 50%. Occasion, generally, usually කියන්නේ ටිකක් 100 පැත්තට එන්න ලං වෙනවා. Seldom, rarely කියන්නේ 0 පැත්තට ලං වෙන ඒවා. So that is the understanding. මේක බලාගෙන තමන්ගේ දිනදා ජීවිතේ නැත්නම් තමන්ට habits තියෙනවා නම් මොන හරි ඒවා තියෙනවා නම් තමන් හැමදාම කරන routine work ඒක තමන්ට ලියන්න පුළුවන්. ඕගොල්ලෝගේ ජීවිතය ගැන බලන්න. නැත්නම් මෙතන තියෙන එකම ලියන්න ඕනේ, right? I always speak in English. So you can say I always speak in Sinhalese or I speak in Sinhala. She usually fed her cat cheap cat food. Okay? සාමාන්‍යයෙන් යා දෙන්නේ එච්චර ගණන් නැති පූසට දෙන්නේ කෑම වේලවල් එච්චර ගණන් නැති කෑම අරගෙන. A sentence normally has a subject and a verb. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් sentence එකක ක්‍රියාව කරන කෙනා සහ ක්‍රියාවක් තියෙනවා. I used to often take walks along that road. මම ගොඩක් වෙලාවට වගේ ඉස්සරේ පාර දිගේ යනවා. So in Sinhalese, I think we don't have a lot of variations, right? But in English, we do have variations, okay? Married people sometimes wish they were single. I'm sure most people do. Sometimes I also think when I have a lot of work, right? So benda poe godak ne samaharak velawata. Sometimes think අපරාධ බෑන්දේ අපි සිංගල් වෙ හිටියනම් මෙච්චර කරදර නෑ නේද කියලා. So you tend to think like that, okay? I occasionally eat meat. කනවා හැමතිස්සම නෙවෙයි එක එක මොකක් හරි විශේෂ අවස්ථාවක් ආවොත් කනවා. My father seldom watches TV at night. කලාතුරකින් තමයි TV බලන්නේ මගේ තාත්තා රැට. He rarely makes a mistake. ගොඩාක් කලාතුරකින් කියන එක, right? තමයි යා mistake එක මොකක් හරි වැරද්දක් කරන්නේ. I never forget a face. මට කවදාකවත් දැකපු මූණක් ආය අමතක වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Okay? So තමන්ට හරි දේවල් තමන් ලියන්න පුළුවන්. So for an example, right? So if I just move this a bit this side, you can write your own sentences and say, I always speak Sinhala. I usually fed her cat cheap food. So you can say, I usually drive to work. Right? So you can write down what is truthful for you. A sentence normally has a subject and a verb. So I normally let's take something like this. They normally travel abroad during school holidays. I used to often take walks along that road. Okay, so තමන්ට ගැලපෙන sentences ටිකක් තමන් ලියන්න ඕනේ. Right? Okay. Right, just a reflection. අපි මොකක්ද lesson එකේ මුලම බැලුවේ? In today's lesson you will learn and practice the use. කොයි වෙලාවටද පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ? The form, S form එක එනවද නැද්ද? Pronunciation, sentence වලයි, question tags වලයි, present tense එකේ. So this was the very first lesson name that we had in our lesson, and reflect and see මේවා මම ඉගෙන ගත්තද? Did I learn this bit? Did you learn the form? Did you learn the use? And did you learn the pronunciation? The stress, where do you stress, right? Remember, I travel to work by bus. I don't travel to work by bus. Do you travel to work by bus? Question tag, sentence form එක කොහොමද අපි stress කරේ, right? So I'd like you to remind yourself what we have done in the lesson, right? And do some extra practice which is outside the lesson so you improve in your simple present tense. So with that we come to the end of the lesson, which was all about the present tense, but this is for the intermediate level.